Dear students, welcome to the course on Statistical Methods for Psychological Research Part 2. In this lesson, we are going to learn about exploring different statistical graphs and tables. Let us see the learning objectives. At the end of this lesson, the students can be able to learn the procedure for preparing charts and graphs in SPSS. To understand univariate frequency table and its usage for data analysis in SPSS, and the last objective is to explore the bivariate and manifold frequency tables in SPSS. Let us start. Let us begin with the first part of the lesson, in which you will learn about the creating different statistical graphs in SPSS. Graphs. Statistical results are best presented graphically to make it easier for reader to grasp the meaning of the numbers. There are three important reasons while making diagrams and graphs. The first reason is to provide visual representation of your data. The second reason is we may explain different formats with the different data sets. The third reason is it is easy to understand, it is easy for making comparison. In SPSS, graphical analysis is a separate function that allows generating graphs for understanding the data. The following are the most widely used graphs in SPSS: bar graph, scatter plot, line chart, histogram, box plot, pie chart, and quintile plot, etc. Bar graph. Bar charts are a series of bars of different heights which allows visual comparison of specific categories. A nominal or ordinal variable is placed on the horizontal x-axis such that each bar represents one category of that variable. Here in the x bar, the ethnic group is a nominal variable which is placed in the x-axis, and the y-axis represents the number of percentage. Here each bar is explaining each category in the ethnic groups. Steps for making bar graphs in SPSS. First step is choose graphs, then select chart builder. In the second step, in the choose from, at the bottom left, then select bar. Step 3, select the type of graph image you want to use and drag it to the panel at the top of the window, which is a window on the side having element properties will open on the top right. The final step is, in the variable list, select the variables you want to use for x-axis and y-axis. For example, in the previous chart, ethnic group is dragged into the x-axis rectangle and the percentage to y-axis, then click OK, then you may get the beautiful bar graphs in the SPSS output viewer. Scatter plot. A scatter plot is simply an XY plot of disconnected dots appearing for each data point. It is used for presenting the entire data set and identifying the presence of a relationship between variables, outliers, and linearity. Here is the example of scatter plot. Here we have considered two variables. One is time in minutes spent watching TV, and another one is cholesterol concentration. We have see the disconnected dots for these two variables. Here we may identify the extreme values which is deviated from the other normal values. Steps for making scatter plot in SPSS. The step 1, go to graphs, then click chart builder. Step 2, in the choose from list, select scatter. Step 3, select the scatter plot diagram from the images and drag into the panel at the top. Step 4, from the variable list, select the variables you want to use for building a scatter plot. Here the variable time spent in TV is dragged to rectangle labeled x-axis and cholesterol to the rectangle labeled y-axis in the diagram. Then you click OK, you will get the beautiful scatter plot in your SPSS output viewer. Line graph. A line graph is mostly used to show change over time as a series of data points connected by line segments on the coordinate plane. The line graph helps to find the relationship between two data sets, with one data set always being dependent on the another data set. Here the example of line graph. Here the x-axis we see the year and y-axis victim of crime rate per lakhs. Here the line graph plotted each time point. Here the points increasing at the 1990 at the particular point it started decreasing. In between points it is moves up and down. It overall the trend is a decreasing trend. Steps for line graph in SPSS. Step 1, choose graphs, then select chart builder. Step 2, in the choose from list select line. Step 3, select the simplest line diagram and drag it to the panel at the top. Step 4, in the variable list select the first variable and drag into the rectangle labeled x axis in the diagram. Then select second variable and drag it to the rectangle labeled y axis in the diagram. Then click OK. Histogram. Histogram represents the number of items that appear within the range of values. Histograms are useful for demonstrating patterns in data when you want to display information to others rather than discovering data patterns. Given is an example of histogram. Here in the histogram says the normal curve. It means that the particular variable height, it follows the normally distributed. Steps for making histogram in SPSS. Step 1, go to graphs, then legacy dialogs, then click histogram. Step 2, select the variable on the left hand side that you want to plot as a histogram, then shift it into the variable box on the right. Step 3, click OK. Box plot. Box plot is a type of chart often used in exploratory data analysis. Box plot visually show the distribution of numerical data and skewness by displaying the data quartiles and averages. Box plot show the 5 number of summary of the data set: the minimum score, first quartile, median, third quartile and maximum score. Box plot particularly helps to identify the outliers in the data set. Here is the example for box plot. This box plot is also called as box whisker plot. The tile indicates the minimum value and upper tile indicates the maximum value, and this is the first quartile and the top of the line is the third quartile. In the midline is the median. Here we may find outliers, that is deviated from the rest of the data. The box plot also helps to identify the outliers also. Let us see the steps for making box plot in SPSS. Step 1, go to graphs, then click chart builder. Step 2, in the choose from list select box plot. Step 3, drag the first graph diagram to the panel at the top of the window. Step 4, in the variable list select the first variable and drag it to the x axis rectangle. Then select the second variable and drag it to the y axis. Then click OK. You will get the box plot. Next we will see the pie chart. Pie chart is a type of graph that represents the data in a circular graph. Each slice in the pie chart represents its percentage of its whole. The sum of the all data is equal to 360 degree. The total value of the pie is always 100. The pie chart formula is given as given data divided by total value of the data into 360. Here in this pie chart we will see that each spikes which divided into 100%, for 47% for rent and 13% for savings and school fee for 13%, current for 2% and transport for 5%, grocery for 20%. If we add all this percentage, you will get the 100. The pie chart is always in 100%. If you want to know the degree of that particular slice, we may use this formula. Given data divided by total value of data into 360, you will find the particular degree of each slice. Let us see the step 2, develop a pie chart in SPSS. Step 1, choose graphs, then click chart builder. Step 2, in the choose from list select pie. Step 3, drag the first graph diagram to the panel at the top of the window. Step 4, in the variable list drag amount spent, which is we want to draw the pie chart, to the slice by rectangle at the bottom of the panel. Then click OK. The final chart we will see QQ plot. It is also called as quantile plot. A QQ plot is the short for the quantile plot. It is often used to assess whether the variable is normally distributed or not. If a QQ plot, if the residuals fall along the roughly straight line, then the residuals are normally distributed, and the residuals are deviating from the line, especially at the end of the trials, that data is normally distributed. From the QQ plot, these points are closely associated with the center line. That means that particular residuals follow the normal distributed. In the graph, you may see the center line here red color and other points are deviated from the center line. It means that this particular variable of the residuals does not follow the normal distribution. Step 2, generate a QQ plot in SPSS. Step 1, click export, then click analyze. From the analyze menu, click descriptive statistics, then click explore. Step 2, create QQ plot. Drag the variable points into the box labeled, it is called dependent list. Step 3, then click the button labeled plots and make sure the box is checked next to normality plots with tests. Step 4, then click continue and click OK. Dear students, let us summarize what we have learned in the part 1. We have discussed different statistical graphs and tables and also the step-by-step procedure for calculating tables and charts in SPSS. I hope these concepts are clear to you. We will continue in the next video. Thank you.